So I was watching some YouTube videos in the producer space and it was talking about how to find your sound and how to become a music producer and the biggest mistakes you make in music production. Then I realized, this game, I'll say, is way more than beat making. Okay. I want to be real for the people who listen to this podcast for advice. I used to call this advice the Giving Game series back in 2016, 2014. And I want you guys to truly understand that if you're trying to be successful online, you have to do more than build a product. So think of your beats like products. A lot of us are trying to use the product as the content. There's three main pillars, and I cover this in my new how to build a faceless type beat channel. And it goes way deeper than YouTube. I actually show you guys how to build your entire business. If you guys go to busyworksbeats.com, you'll find it now. It's added to the actual course listing. And I teach you guys how to build a whole faceless channel. I'm actually about to level it up even higher with AI. I'm going to show you guys how to automate your business using AI. That part will be a little complicated, but you guys will have the keys. So what I'm realizing in making all this stuff is that people tend to mix up the three pillars. Three pillars of this. There's traffic. This is what we do with social media, for example. That's why I live stream so much. My voice is gone because I'm making so many videos. Okay, I need to have a front-facing thing. So for example, let's make this old school and take it all the way back. Imagine I had a bakery, okay? And I'm the world's greatest chef or baker, whatever they're called, baker chefs. I'm the world's greatest baker, period. I make the best cakes, son. It's like, nah, sweet. All right, so we are the best baker and we have set up a brick and mortar shop on a certain block. Okay, now this block, it's not in downtown. It's way out in the woods somewhere. Okay. And there's two other businesses on this little strip. One's an eye doctor and the other one is a child care facility. So I own a brick and mortar in the middle of nowhere and I bake the best stuff, period. Cakes, cupcakes, cookies, all delicacies. Okay. Now, the issue I have is that I'm not getting organic foot traffic. So when people talk about organic, in the real world, that means you would have to be positioned around an anchor tenant, meaning somebody who's way more popular than you, a Walmart, a Target, who else? Walmart, Target. What else is there? I don't even know. A mall, for example. That is an anchor tenant, a department store, JCPenney, a Macy's. Those are anchor tenants. Okay, they are probably never going to go out of business. And we set these up around town because they bring in the traffic. Okay, now who runs ads on TV? McDonald's, Macy's, all those stores I just mentioned, they run ads. Those ads are paid forms of media to reach places that these physical places cannot be, grab people's attention and pull them to their physical location. Okay, and because of those big brands having the bigger ad budget to spend, the smaller businesses in that mall get to benefit. Because people are going to the Macy's, they see a Cinnabon and they're like, you know what? I do want some Cinnabon right now. I wasn't thinking about Cinnabon. I was not remotely worried about Cinnabon until I smelled it and I passed it organically in this mall. And most people who make products, again, they think that people are going to organically find them. Okay. So you're telling me, okay, let's say downtown city is 20 miles from wherever that person set up shop in our bakery. Okay. We set up 20 miles from the city. So you're telling me somebody's going to organically find me somehow, just mysteriously find me and walk 20 miles or even drive 20 miles to come to my bakery. The odds of that happening are like this, 0. Okay. So we need to understand business, not in this organic mindset. I think people tend to exaggerate organic. They don't even know where organic even comes from. Organic is a result of paid media. Organic is a momentum. Okay, it's not like people are just going to stumble across our stuff in our store. So going back to my brick and mortar example, I'm a baker. I own a bakery. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's 20 miles from the city. Without an anchor tenant and without paid media, there is a 0 chance people are going to stumble across my bakery. Now, what we can do is be a local celebrity. We can go around and meet people, shake people's hands, have networking events, go out in person. But now I'm removing myself from the actual bakery. This is what content is. The product is what's in the bakery. The content is when you leave the bakery and you go meet people and you be social, because how else are you going to tell people about your business? You're going to say, hey, neighbor, you wave to your neighbors. Did you know I'm a baker? And you wear your baker hat around the neighborhood. I can make you guys a cake for this December for the holidays. Now you gain a reputation, whether it's a local reputation or however you guys get that reputation. Then people have a reason and a relationship to come to your location. Okay. So that is organic, but it took your effort to leave the bakery and be social. That's what social media is for. It's for leaving your bakery, metaphorically speaking, and being social, building a reputation, building trust, getting people to like you. What do you do to add value to people before you ask them to come to your bakery? That's social media. Social media is not putting cakes. It's not just putting cakes up outside of your store, assuming that people are just going to magically know where to go. That's not what social media content is for. And so when people are mixing up the product with the actual content, that's where you guys have some of the biggest friction in your business. The content's job is to reach as many people as humanly possible. And even better, out of those people that we reach, we want them to be qualified or better suited for our actual solution that we offer. Okay. So I could talk to 1 million people, but if they care less about making beats, what's the point of talking to 1 million people? In other words, my stuff can go viral to the wrong audience. I could put up a video, reshare it, funny video. It gets 1 million views. It gets 30,000 views today. It gets 50,000 views tomorrow, whatever. It could be viral. I've done it many times on Facebook. We reshared videos from funny clips from husband and wife stuff to, the one drummer who's in a suit and he's drumming and he's in a kid's suit. We did a military lifting people up video. It did millions, 11 million, 1 million. It did crazy numbers. Did it give me the audience I was looking for? Probably not, because people who enjoy those videos are not necessarily music producers. There's nothing about the video that said, I'm a music producer, I can relate with this. It was just a funny video. So we need to understand that with our content, our job is to reach a lot of people, but also focus on a segment or a portion of these people who actually have an interest and who have a problem that we can solve. If we are creating products for people who have zero problems, there's no point in business. Think about it this way. If you owned a farm and I owned a farm and your farm developed cows and my farm developed wheat, okay? Now you wanted to make pizza, and I think flour requires wheat. I don't know the ingredients for flour, but let's just say it does. And you wanted to make pizza tonight. So you got your other ingredients ready, but you're just missing the flour. So you have to make your own flour. So you need wheat. So you come to me, you're like, okay, I need some wheat. I'll trade you some milk for this wheat. And I go, well, we don't need milk. We actually are lactose intolerant. We don't drink milk over here. And then you go, okay, well, can I get some wheat? And I go, well, do you have anything to trade? And if the answer is no, then you're out of luck. And that's kind of where the concept of money came into play. But without giving you guys a whole lesson on the history of money, my greater point is that it all starts with a problem and a solution, a need and a need that's met. Okay. Now, if you're creating stuff where there's no need and you're doing this before you measure the actual market's need for your thing, you are working for no reason. And I want to prevent people from doing this. I'm not talking down to you. I want you guys to start with the need first, product second. A lot of people start with the product first and they're trying to figure out who needs this product. You need to start with the actual problem that somebody has and create the actual solution for that problem. You guys have been talking about how to earn money, earn passive income, which I think is the most demonic word people use to sway you in things, passive income. The only true passive income in the world is stocks. Anything else is not truly passive. Even when I use the word passive income, if I don't say in context of you have to put in work to build momentum so that it does work when you're not actually working, then that's partially passive income. But these lies that people tell you guys about passive income, just build a beat store and people are going to magically come to your bakery 20 miles away from the city. That's the same analogy. So I'm showing you guys in this what is it called? I'm going to get tongue twisted. Faceless type beat channel course. I'm showing you guys how to literally be faceless. You don't even have to put your face up. I show you how to basically build out your store. You don't even need BeatStars. I show you how to build a beat store right inside of Shopify. All the apps included. I show you guys how to build your email campaigns, how to do your social media, how to build your email list. Our email list off of that one video I did. Let me see if I can find that email list. Let me pause this video real quick. So I showed you guys one video, okay? One video. And from that one video, we now have 14 email subscribers from one video on a channel that nobody knew about previously. One video. Okay. So multiply this times when you guys actually gain influence, and, multiply that times 10 when you make your video, and times whatever. Once you gain a reputation, okay, those numbers will be higher. So the fact that we had 14 people on our email list from one video, okay, the channel was not even known. One video. Okay. So you can build up your email list. That's the number one asset you guys need to focus on. If there's one lesson to take away from today, build your email list, build your email list, build your email list. Okay. That's the only true thing that you truly own online. Everything else is just, we're renting it, including your followers. Okay. So I want you guys to understand the biggest frustration that I see people get stuck with is traffic and attention to their beats. And they want all this attention to their beats. And then they say, okay, I know what I should do. Make more beats. And that's not solving a problem. The goal of a product is to solve the problem. The goal of the social media is to identify the problem and exaggerate the problem, make people really feel that the problem is a big problem. The solution is your product, and that will resolve people's tension that you bring up in the actual content. So what most people do is they'll say 5 biggest mistakes, because people look for ways to survive. Okay, we're built to survive, meaning we look for the threats, okay, in our environment. So if you say the biggest mistakes, people are like, okay, well, I'm making mistakes. What are these threats that I need to know of? That's going to capture the biggest audience. Okay. I'm not going to go down the whole rabbit hole of what kind of content to make in this video, because it's just too much to elaborate on, but that will grab a lot of attention. Mistakes to avoid. It applies to a lot of people. So try that. That's a little gem for you guys. Okay. Now, in building these products, again, if there is no social media content, I think a lot of people just don't know what they're doing with social media in terms of what is the purpose of it. The purpose of social media is to resonate with your audience, tell stories, become familiar with your audience, so it builds trust, but also too, you want to identify and amplify problems. Your product, your beat, your whatever you guys offer, it does not have to be a beat. It solves a problem. Somebody wants to get on stage on Coachella. Well, guess what? They need your beat. That's how you position it. Okay. And it technically might not be fully true. It could be that they just need a band, or they just need to know somebody. But instead, you position it like they need your beat to get on the stage, and you have to prove that through a story. And that's what marketing is called. You're telling a story, a sequence of events that lead somebody to a desired outcome. And it just so happens that your product and your service is the missing block and the missing piece for them to travel down that path. The same exact way I'm marketing this Type Beat faceless, I can't even get the words right. Faceless Type Beat channel course. Okay, I got to come up with a better acronym. Faceless Type Beat channel. Okay. So I spent a lot of time breaking down all of my online business training. I've trained millions around the world. Okay, some have gone to work with Drake, Kanye West, Post Malone, Ariana Grande, French Montana, Young Thug, Polo G, Trippie Redd, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, Glorilla. Some have won Grammy, some have won platinum plaques. And the consistent thing I see with all those people that I've trained in music production, they tend to come back to me later trying to figure out this online business thing, because they realize that is their only leverage in all of business, is to build your own thing. Okay, and I will literally show you guys the systems and the concepts I use in my own business. I'm not teaching you something I don't know and don't use. I told you real systems, real solutions, step by step. There's no stone unturned. You literally see the entire session. I don't edit out stuff to make it very ambiguous. I used to hate that. I'm going to set up some kind of like businessy thing. And let me tell you guys, you think there's music production tutorials? There is like 0 business tutorials. You go to business stuff and you're like, okay, how do I set up my email thing? Crickets, 0 videos, no help. There is no help on this side of things, because people understand it's valuable. Okay, if we're making somebody go from $0 to $100, that's valuable. If we're making somebody go from 0 to 1,000 a month, that's valuable. Even better, if they're going from 0 to 10,000, now it's going to require a lot of work, a lot of energy, but that's extremely valuable. That person now has what, $100,000 business a year. You could sell it at a 10 multiple. So that's what, $1 million business. Okay, from information. That's why it's gatekept. Nobody's going to give you guys this stuff. And plus, even when we put this stuff online for free, nobody watches, and then they continuously complain about why they're not getting results. Guess what? We put up the paywall. Guess what? We're not giving it out for free anymore. The people who saw it for free, saw it for free. People who didn't. And now I'm going to add even more stuff about how to automate through AI, okay? To where you can now have systems built to where you don't have to lift a finger. for certain things. We're still building out that portion, so it's going to take some time. But I basically showed you guys how to build a faceless type beat channel from absolute zero. And I showed you guys we got what, 6,000 views in the first 6 videos or something like that. I forget the exact numbers, but we covered it in the course. So again, go to busyworksbeats.com to find that course. But I want you guys to truly understand this. The product is not the content. Okay, there's 3 pillars. Traffic. This is social media content. This is what we do to reach new people. Product development. That's what you guys kind of mastered through busyworksbeats.com, learning how to produce and mix and all that. Then there's the customer relation journey. Okay, so this is how do you keep the relationship going over time? You know, analogous to dating, you know, you could watch all these people teach you, you know, online how to date and how to pick up girls and all this type of stuff. Okay, but what happens when you're in a relationship? How do you deal with conflict resolution? How do you deal with building a family together? How do you deal with many household things when people move in together? Nobody teaches you that, because all they care about is teaching you how to lay and slay with this one girl and lay and slay with the next girl, because that's how they get you to be hooked to their program. They don't want you here to look for true happiness, because if they did, why would they teach you to just do the lay and slay every single day? Okay. It has no longevity to it. It's the same thing with day trading with stocks. Okay. There might be a couple people who can really master that craft, but for the majority of people, does that give you long-term success? And we've seen through the statistics, not necessarily. How do you focus on long-term success? That's not just flash in the pan, die tomorrow. Okay, that's what we're showing you guys how to build from scratch. So it's those 3 pillars: traffic, aka social media content. And then we have the product development, which you guys focus on and think that's the whole business. And then lastly, customer relations. Okay, that's where you expand and you help your network grow into more customers. It's a long process with building a relationship with the customer to where they trust you for a lifetime. Okay, so I just want you guys to walk away with something tactical. So here's the tactic. Instead of posting your beats, ask yourself, what are the problems an artist has? Okay, what are the problems that an artist has? Solve that problem in a video, share it with an artist friend, or share it with your audience in general. Stop posting beats. Okay, that's not the only content. All right, guys, we're going to wrap this up. But if you guys want to gain access to that course, just go to busyworksbeats.com. It's extremely thorough, like no stone unturned type of thorough. All right, peace. Subscribe if you're new, share with a friend. Peace.